All right, good evening and welcome back to the AI Laboratory. So today is going to be a special episode where instead of going through and experimenting, I'm actually going to be showing you some of the work that I do behind the scenes. So over the last year, I've been working to write my own science fiction novel, and it's finally here. It's actually real. So I've got The Red Omen by Daniel Straub. My book is actually complete, published, printed, and now I get to share with you how I did it. So with that in mind, I want to try and walk us through what we're going to be going through today. So I'm going to show you 6 AI agents that I've used to be able to help produce my book, to be able to go with the original concept design, writing the story, getting it built out and fleshed out so that it's not just my words vomited all over a page. It's actually structured and well written, because the ideas came easy for me, but the problem I always got slowed down with was like the formatting, breaking it up into paragraphs, making sure it wasn't redundant. So using AI to help speed up that process really made it easy for me, and I want to make it easy for you. So with that, let's go ahead and get ready to go into our episode. But before we do, I want to encourage you to please like and subscribe. Every time that somebody likes and subscribes to the channel, it makes it a lot easier for more people to be able to see what we're actually doing here. And likewise, in the top left of the screen is going to be a QR code. This is how you can actually join me on the podcast. I want you to be here as my guest. I want to be able to try and solve your problems together doing our live experiments here at the AI Laboratory. So with that, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into our episode today. So we're going to go ahead and jump into our actual project work. So on the right side, I've got here on the left, I've got Claude, and I've also got a document that Claude has prepared. So if you're going to be able to build a book from scratch, here's how we're going to do it. So I'm scroll down to the bottom of this document here, this page on the right side with all of the AI prompts that you're going to be seeing today. It's going to be available for you to download after the show. So first up, we're going to create a new project for my book. So we'll call this AI Book Project number 2, because I've already done number 1. All right, and project goals, we are going to write a book together and get it published on Amazon. All right, so cool. I would encourage you to be able to do a little more detail on creating your description here, but for the most part, that's not terribly important. So when it comes to Claude and almost every other chatbot, such as Grok or ChatGPT, they all have some variant of this workbook or a project, something that is able to group chats together as well as group files together, so it has something that it can keep and remember and work with a particular set of guidance. And that will be kind of key to our success when it comes to actually following this project to a conclusion. So calling it a project is actually an appropriate thing. So number 1, we'll want to make sure that the memory is working only for me. If this is my private project, I don't want the rest of the internet to have it. Likewise, instructions. So these are instructions that you're going to be giving to Claude. This is something that you'll want to be able to structure with how it interacts with you and how it governs the documents that you're working with, the type of ways it likes to write, past examples. Additionally, files. Every time you write a chapter of your book, I encourage you to upload the most current chapter to the files so that Claude can actually reference and ensure you have continuity. So on the right side, the bonus project organization tips. So things that you're going to want to have, your manuscript or the chapters as you write them, especially if it becomes a longer novel, you'll really need to break it up chapter by chapter so that the AI can keep the appropriate frame of reference of what's recently happened. You'll also want to include character sheets. So a really good description so that it doesn't accidentally start to create fictitious new things, like they just changed your eye color, or now it's actually a woman instead of a man. So instead of an alien, it's actually a human now. So you want the character sheets to be able to be consistent whenever you're working through your projects. Make sure your plot outline the overall theme of the story so it doesn't start to hallucinate and make things up. Likewise, if you want to avoid spoilers, make sure you identify what is considered a spoiler. This way, your AI is not going to suggest book titles or descriptions or advertisements that'll give away the story. Cover art concepts, those are always useful, but I always kind of touch those at the very end. Website copy if you're trying to build up one yourself. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start separate conversations for each phase. So I'm going to give you 6 AI agents, and each one will be their own specific conversation, and that'll help make it easier for you to be able to be successful with your project. reference early work based on the outline and the project knowledge. So you can tell it to reference this file so it'll know what it's looking for. All right, that's a quick summary of what we've covered over for our Claude project. So now we have the basic framework for what we need. Let's go ahead and start diving into the 6 chatbots. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll this document. Again, you will have this available to you. All right, so the 6 AI prompts to take your book from idea to actually being published online. By the way, to reiterate that, the Red Omen is actually going on sale here in about 3 hours. So if you guys want, I'll be happy to give you the link for that one in the chat, and as well as for the record after the show is over. So I'll give you the link so you can actually buy the book yourself to see how well it actually did, and encourage you, if you liked it, give a review, and hopefully more people will start to enjoy that book as well. So it's a fun project. I'm glad I got to see it through to completion. It took me about 9 months to go from start to finish. I didn't have all these things. I just had to figure it out along the way. Hopefully your book won't take you 9 months. It'll hopefully take you a lot less time than that. So with that, we've already gone and created our Claude project. We're going to use a separate conversation for all of our prompts, and we're going to work through in phases, preferably phase 1 through 6, going through AI agents 1 through 6. So the first one, our phase 1 book design agent. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this entire section. I'm going to go ahead and create my first chat right here. I'm just going to go throw it in there and hit send. So what we're going to do is we're going to create all 6 agents right now, and then I'll start to work with each one specifically. So now I have my first agent out there. This is going to be my book writing and design agent. Cool, this is out there in place. I'm going to go revisit this again. So we'll call this one our book writing and design agent. So we're going to go ahead and rename this one so I will know what I'm dealing with. And I'm going to go ahead and make this a star, because I'm going to be primarily working with this one for a long time. Let's go down to phase 2. And here is what is going on. I'll go throw this in here as well. And boom. Now I've got my phase 2 complete. Let it go. Great. Let's get working on the manuscript. We're going to go back to our project. We're going to go ahead and rename this one for my editing and pre-publishing agent review. And we'll go ahead and rename you. Great. This part's done. I'm not going to start that one yet because we're not going to deal with it right away. Phase 3, cover art and design agent. So again, I'll take the information right here and I'll go ahead and plop that bad boy right on inside. All right, as it's going along, I'm going to go ahead and jump back out, and I'm going to retitle this one as well. So cover art design agent. And rename you. All right, phase 3. All right, let's see, that's 3 complete. We're going to go with phase 4 next. Now, for those that are more experienced with AI, you'll note that these are fairly simple prompts, but it's enough to get started. You can totally go and dig deeper into how exactly you want this thing to be done. But for a starting point, this is not bad at all. Generally, when it comes to getting these prompts, I will actually ask the AI to give me the prompt for what I want. And it generally comes out with something pretty decent. I can go in and clarify it more. So let's go at phase 4, web design agent. So yeah, like I went from quite literally having nothing, just the ideas in my brain, and then I went and took them to an actual reality in about 9 months time frame. And you're getting the simplified export of my work. So let's go ahead and create agent number 5, plopping this in right here. Again, this will be the phase 5 Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing. I believe that's actually what it's called. Yep, it is. And we'll go ahead and rename that one. Don't need to say that as a bookmark. All right, that's agent 5. Let's go as agent 6, getting me ready to advertise and sell the book. Kind of what we're trying to do here. All right, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and get agent number 6 going on. And I've got all the phases done and prepared. So while Claude is actually finishing up what it's working on, I'm going to go back and rename this. Phase 6. I'm going to go ahead and rename you again. So phase 1. And I'll go to the editing. Rename you phase 2. All right, now I have my 6 agents prepared. Again, these agents are going to be the book writing design agent, my editing and pre-publishing review agent, your cover art design agent, website design agent, Amazon KDP formatting, as well as your book advertising agent. So going from the very start of, I have no social media presence, I have no book, I have no website, I've got nothing, but I want to make this thing happen. These 6 agents will walk you through that process. Now, you can always customize them to your liking so that it suits your interests and needs. The big thing is every time that you come up with something that you don't know, just ask. I don't know how to do this. I don't know what the next step is. I don't know what is appropriate or a common way to do it, what is easily receivable to my particular audience for the type of book that I'm writing. Ask the AI, and it'll probably give you a pretty decent answer. It's not necessarily taken as the truth, but it's going to be a lot better starting point than where you're at right now. Having no information, then having some information. All right, so again, to refresh and remind you, this whole file that we're looking at here on the right side, this is available to you for download. That is going to be in the comments section of this video. So with that, let's go ahead and start working with book phase 1. So the book writing design agent. So let's go ahead and take a look at these questions that it's asking me, because every time you're working with AI, unless you know exactly what you're trying to say, it's really a good idea to have your AI agent ask you clarifying questions so that the work it does provide is actually going to be directly useful to what you really want versus what it's guessing it thinks you want. So, all right, book question number 1. What genre is this book? So let's go ahead and get ready for another sci-fi book. So sci-fi novel. All right. So let me put this out there. So put in number 1, sci-fi novel. If I hold shift and press enter, it creates my next bullet line. So fancy tip there. What is the core concept or premise? Ooh. I don't want to give spoilers for my next book, so I'll just make something up. So we'll make this a chase. Well, instead of a chase, let's call it like the cat and mouse hunter versus hunted. All right, cat and mouse hunter versus hunted science fiction novel. All right, so that's the core concept or premise. Do you have any characters or scenes already in mind? Names, personalities. Let's say I've only got like the main 2 characters in mind. So I have a grumpy old man. I'm going to go steal from the movie Up on this one. The grumpy old man and a young child who is excited for the future. Great. Pretty simple. That covers my personalities. They are not related, but the old man is looking after the young child. Specific moments, whatever. So take your time and start with whatever feels right now. Cool. While we get this started out, let's see what it actually comes up with. I'm hoping it's going to give me some more questions. Great foundation, tension, character dynamic, a little deeper. Great. It's asking me more questions. Who's being hunted? What is hunting them? Does this pursuit game, is it a game? Is it more of a chase? Does there limitations? So things that are very intelligible that are going to be core questions to answer with the book. If you don't answer some of these types of questions, your audience is either going to be a little confused about what's actually happening or unfulfilled because like, well, what happened to this? So these are some really important things that your agent is going to be asking you because it's trying to draw out the good ideas. One of the nice perks that comes with working with an agent like this is it's going to remember what you said. And the thing that is going to be very useful to you is telling it to remember. So like as I'm going through the details, if I start to specify like, cool, what kind of cat and mouse game is this? I can tell it, make this, and I remember this, and it will actually keep that information available to me, particularly as I'm continuing to develop the story. Now, one of the things that I don't like about Claude is sometimes if your chat message gets too long, let's say you've had a long conversation, especially if you're writing a full-on book, not like a small, short book, but I mean actually a full-on novel. It's Claude can only handle so much chat back and forth, particularly if you're coding. So when you're doing websites, you're probably going to have several different chats for websites. We'll talk about that more in a second. But for like the book, the story, when it comes to doing the chapter work, you're going to want to go have one conversation per chapter. So this way you can focus what Claude is actually going to pay attention to. And likewise, as you develop the characters, as you develop the overall story, you're going to want to update those core files that the Claude project is going to reference. This way you can have a solid amount of continuity, and that'll minimize your editing later on because your project will have a common voice, a common reference, and a common set of understanding from the rules that you're creating based off the characters, how things behave, where things are located, what time frame, the timelines. So making that clear files for Claude to reference as part of the project is going to be really, really useful to you. All right, so let's go ahead and jump out of this one. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at phase 2. Editing and pre-publishing agent review. This is by far the longest, the most painful, and the most necessary thing you can possibly do, which is editing like minimum 4 times. Because even though you have a great idea, it may not necessarily flow at a speed that is good for the reader. It's great for your mind. It's great that it's in there, but not everybody likes to read at the pace that you're telling the story. And referencing an agent to be able to help you figure out what is more appropriate, what is common within the genre, because you want to make sure that your writing style is well received by your target audience. If you like to write long, drawn out narratives for a Tolkien style giant epic fantasy, your customer base that's actually going to want to read that is going to have a specific expectation of a style. If you want something that's a bit of a shorter book, you better actually have a story that moves with this length of the story. So do keep in mind your target audience, and that's a conversation you're going to want to have with the agents at the very beginning of the story, or very beginning of your work. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look. Phase 2, editing and pre-publishing review agents. So it's got questions. All right, let's get to work on your manuscript. Before I dive deeper, I need a bit of context. All right, it is a science fiction cat and mouse character-driven. All right. All right, so it's a character-driven adventure. Oh, if only I could spell things. Yeah, great. So that's enough for number 1. Let me go back here. 1, 2. All right, any specific concerns about this chapter? So right now, this agent's making the assumption we're dealing with one particular chapter. I struggle with transitions from one scene to the next, and I don't know. Let's like, since we don't actually have a chapter to feed into it just yet, let's try and come up with something that's more specific concerns. Don't know if people like my characters or not. All right, so we'll if it's a story, character-driven story, you better actually have likable or hateable characters. Hateable characters can be very useful, but they can't be the entire book. I suppose maybe they could. Maybe they could. Let's see. Go ahead and share the chapter when you're ready. I will upload the chapter after answering your questions. Let's see what it does. All right, cat and mouse, that's a great combo. When done well. Concerns, transitions, blah, blah, blah. Character likability. All right. And I'll assess whether the characters feel compelling, whether the readers will care what happens to them. Actually, that's kind of important. Because, like, it's a nice character, but I don't really care. you're not going to get a lot of emotional investment. So especially in your early chapters, you need to get the readers really invested in something, be that the drama, the story, the characters, something to be able to really hook them in, even if it's just the visual world that they're imagining in their heads. All right, cool. Upload the chapter and I'll give you the full breakdown. All right, so since I don't actually have a manuscript for this particular one and I don't feel like reloading in my actual book into it, so we'll go ahead and move on to phase 3. So again, we've gone through phase 1, book writing agent, book writing and design. We've gone through editing and pre-publishing. When it comes to the double tap again, editing and pre-publishing, you need to do this 3, 4, 6 to 9 times to make sure that you really have it down pat, because editing is where you're going to find your flaws, your mistakes, and ultimately every time you edit and rewrite this section, it's so much better. It's always better. It's frustrating to do, but it's always better. All right, so rehashing book writing, design agent complete, editing, pre-publishing complete. Let's go ahead and talk about cover art design. So like for me, I put down the book. I had to come up with the cover art. So I had the red omen, which is the big red thing in the background, scary ooh-ah. I also have my violet themed fungal jungle planet, as well as the big old turd ship on the very center. So that is the prison ship Alabaster. And I want to make sure that I have something that is going to truly capture the readers. Number one, their attention. They have to look at it, see it, and go, ooh, ah. Number two, it also has to convey something about the story. So in this case, I've got a planet, I've got a prison ship, and I've got this big red thingy off in space. So it's obviously a space-based, like with some technology around it, around some type of special looking planet. All right, so that's enough to really grab the reader's attention. That'll hopefully capture the target audience that wants that type of story. So pick your covers well. All right, starts off with the essentials, book title and genre. Let's call this The Blue Omen. Why not? So I'll go ahead and make this, and genre, space, sci-fi, overall tone and mood, cat and mouse in space, suspense and adventure. By the way, my next book is not going to be called The Blue Omen. Say any key visuals, elements that should appear. Aliens, technology, and cats. And alien cats. Why not? Are there any key visual elements that should appear? Or that was 3, sorry. Target audience. Let's go with teenagers. Why not? Going for a target audience of teenagers. Do you have any covers you admire as a reference? The Red Omen by Daniel Straub. Let's see. Bonus questions. Is there any color styles, visual elements you definitely want to avoid? Avoid red, and avoid deserts, because I hate deserts. Great. So there covers that. So let's go ahead and we'll come up with some. Let's see what it says. It's probably going to ask me some more questions. All right. Cool. The feline sentinel, mysterious cat silhouette in the foreground, glowing blue eyes set against the vast star filled with ominous alien structure. All right, interesting. A chase through the cosmos. Sleek spacecraft being pursued through an asteroid field or a nebula. All right, all right. Alien encounter. Half showing a terrestrial cat, half showing an alien counterpart. Ooh, fancy. Technological barrier or portal effect. Actually, that really could. That actually kind of sounds interesting. Alien cat. So we'll make the entire book about cats. We'll have a grumpy old cat and a young child cat. Oh man, I'm coming up with a whole new story right here. Cool color palettes. What concepts relate most to your vision? All right, cool. Let's go with concept 3. Sounds great. What AI is good to make the cover art? Because I'm asking this question because Claude generally sucks at pictures. Thankfully, it's actually pretty decent at giving some okay suggestions. So Midjourney is a very powerful tool. It's going to cost you some money. Part of Discord, it might be part of either your plan or somebody else, one of your friends' plans. So you might have access to it already. Dolly, I haven't actually tried that one. Leonardo AI, personally, I despise it. It has produced like the artwork I've been able to produce with it, including like comic book style artwork. I managed to make 2 pictures under the free tier, and they were okay, but not great. They had some broken physics in the pictures. It looked pretty, but it made no logical sense. Like you had a snow plow where the plow was like halfway sideways compared to the truck. It made no freaking sense. And I only got 2 pictures out of it before it tapped out of the free account. You're better off going to Grok. But depending on the type of picture you're looking for, Grok does a lot of pictures very quickly, very cheaply. And if I run out of that, I'll switch over to Google Gemini. It's got a pretty good image production as well. ChatGPT's got pretty solid, but it's pretty slow at producing one at a time. Pretty much all the AI that creates videos or creates images can create videos, and you can also edit just by text alone what kind of image you're going to produce. So I appreciate Claude making a recommendation. Midjourney would probably be good if you have experience with it. If not, it doesn't take long to figure it out. You got to be able to be willing to spend the money. But if you really want to go for free, Grok, ChatGPT is okay. Gemini would be all right. But I've had really bad luck with getting Claude to produce any quality images. I've got some hilarious fails. If you go back and look through the YouTube short videos for AI podcast, oh God, I put out Grok, ChatGPT, and Claude to the test for making a short anime thing. And Grok spit out dozens of great anime pictures. ChatGPT did one, and Claude did one hilariously bad stick figure style anime. It wasn't even anime. It really was like stick figures that you'd see from like the 1990s. It was hilariously bad. I had a good time. All right, so ready for the detailed prompt. So great. It'll create a prompt for me for Midjourney. Great. I'm going to go ahead and pause here. We'll call phase 3 complete. We've gone through that one. Let's go ahead and jump on over to phase 4. So website design. So let's say this is your first time working with websites. Let's go ahead and see what it's going to ask me. Let's just go ahead and skip one for now. Do I have a domain for hosting? If yes, what platform? Ask me later. 2, I do not. I have no experience and I don't know where to start. Sure, we'll go with common structure. I appreciate the recommendations, especially if I have no idea what I'm doing. This seems like a good start for now. What are the vibe or visual style am I going for? Space, cats, and alien cats. All right. Suspense and adventure. Cool. Teenagers will like it. All right, where can readers buy the book? We'll sell it on Amazon. Sell it on Amazon as an ebook. All right, cool. So let's see what it does for now. So basically, when it comes to selling your books on Amazon, if you do just the ebooks, you can get a pretty solid royalty rate where basically all you have to do is create your account, upload your information, upload your file, upload your artwork, and depending on your price range, they will set your royalties. So if it's a fairly inexpensive book, especially for newer authors, between like $3 and $10, you can get yourself around a 70% royalty rate just for the ebooks. If you go to an actual printed book, the royalty rates are not anywhere near as generous. And when it comes to covering the printing costs come out of your half of the royalties. So printed books, the price has to be higher for you to actually make any money. So generally, you'll get more profit from an ebook than you would from a physical book. But hey, not everybody wants to buy an ebook. Especially if your friends want a signed copy, they have to have a physical copy now, don't they? All right, nail down the book results or details. Book title, plot summary or hook, main characters, what makes your book unique, why would teens choose this over something else, platform. So cool. we'll deal with this one later. Let's talk about platform. No experience needed. It'll recommend Card.co or Wix. I have no experience with those. I don't know what it is. Card.co, best for simplicity, 19-year for domain, super simple. Here's my book, go buy it. All right, Wix, best for flexibility, got its own cost, so much a month for ad-free custom domain. Great. I honestly would actually recommend looking at this one a little bit differently. So instead of platform, instead of going with card clean page site, I want to have AI build my website from scratch using HTML code. In general, I would recommend using templates just because it's fast and easy. But if you really want to, you could actually have AI build your website entirely from scratch using HTML code. So I can either upload the completed page or copy and paste the code so it can be hosted. All right, so I'm going to say this, and I want to know what Claude's got to say about it. Cool. I'll build you a complete, ready to upload HTML website with CSS and everything you need. Thank you, Claude. That's fantastic. But before I can do that, I've got some questions. Blah, 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 blah. Great. Great. Once it does these, it can actually start producing the HTML file. So all you have to do is just upload the file, and it'll work out great. So depending on what you're looking for, you might end up coming with something. So I had Claude actually build my website for me. So let's go ahead and take a look at my website. LuminariExpanse.com, home of the Luminary Expanse series. So let me go ahead and make this the full page here. So here is the website that Claude built for me. So for some spoilers, your title bar here, this is your header. This section is actually part of a template, so it's automatically applied to all of my pages. And I also have a footer at the very bottom. This is also automatically applied to all my pages. So if I need to add another link or something like that, if I have an updated information to contact, it will actually upload every single page and update that for me. And I don't have to worry about going page by page by page, especially if I had a many page series. All right, so with that, I've got the Luminary Expanse. I can either click on Order Now, open up a new tab. Great, here it is. My book is available online. I just have to give Claude the actual website link, and it'll be able to go here. You can get it on Kindle or paperback. All right, with that, I can go to Read Sample. It'll take me to my sample chapters page. I can go to read my prologue, or if I've already gone through that, I can go down to chapter 1. So it's nice how it'll scroll for me, and all this was done and coded for me by Claude. I go to my universe. This one's actually kind of fancy. It took a little while to figure out how to get it to do what I wanted. But essentially right now I've got all the different pictures for all the interesting things out there. So let's go to the creepy centurions. So with this, it takes me all the way down to the centurions section, and it'll explain to me all the different details showing this graphic image of this giant freaking centipede looking thing. They're horrific. They're actually kind of cool, but they're also kind of horrific. The Luminari, these things, sorry. They're actually pretty cool. It's got 6 eyes. You can't really see the 6 eyes right here, but still, it's actually like the oldest species in the entire galaxy. It kind of became like a shepherd to help make sure all the species survived as best they could. But either way, it's a cool, like cat deer looking thingamajigger. They're very old. They're dying out, and they've got all kinds of backstory. So most of the ruins and relics out there in the galaxy are from them. But yeah, you've also got the Woolings, and basically it's a giant fucking gorilla. It's 10 foot tall. It's huge, but they're actually diplomats and poets, but they will tear you apart if you mess with them. So yeah, like really cool stuff that's got the accordion effect, so I can expand and see more things, and I can expand out and close it as well. I can skip to it, and it'll show me all the things that I'm looking for. So yeah, I've also got the basic author page. It shows cool, who's the author, how do I get a hold of them. Like really, I've only got some simple things so that they can reach out, because I'm happy to be able to talk to people on X, but for the most part, I don't really want to try and hawk my book too hard, except for to go click the buy online button, which will take me again right to the book. So yeah, let's go ahead and be done with this, and we'll go ahead and jump back to actual agents. So we finished up with phase 4, website design. Again, you'll want to work through it page by page. So every single page that you create, you will want to make sure that you create a chat for that particular page. So I would start with my design agent, create me a prompt for this particular website page, and I'll use that prompt to create a new chat and have that conversation working on that particular page. And if I need to, I could come back to this agent for more, but I shouldn't have to. All right, so back to our project. Phase 5, Amazon KDP formatting agent. So in general, Kindle, the Kindle Direct Publishing, they've got explicit instructions on their website, and that's already pre-published. They don't really change very often. So having an agent actually review your file. So let's say you have your complete manuscript or chapter by chapter, you can upload the entire thing into here and it'll be able to take all this information. I shouldn't even have to answer most of these questions except for, do I just want ebook or paperback or both ebook and paperback or even hard copy? But as soon as I upload the file, this is already answered. I can explain like, cool, I'm done, or I'm still trying to format it. And it'll be able to tell me what I need to do to make sure it actually matches up with the formatting. So basically on the first or one small edit, it'll be matching the parameters that KDP, the Kindle Direct Publishing, requires to actually publish. So this phase 5 is actually pretty short and sweet. And it's just a nice thing to be able to have something to review it for proper formatting. You should actually have a lot of that already pre-done as part of the editing. But even if you don't quite have all the editing done completely at this point as you're preparing to release, that's fine. You can usually go back to restructure and reformat. Lastly, your book is done. It's ready to sell. When do I sell? How do I advertise? Like all these things that are going to come into it. Like, cool, advertising your budget. What platforms do you want to sell on? When's your launch date? Who is your target reader? Bonus questions, format, whatever. So there's actually an opportunity here for you to ask questions of the AI. It's like, when is my launch date? Well, when the book is done. Or an important question is, when would be a good time for me to release my alien cat science fiction book? All right, it'll go ahead and look at what's the best day of the week to release it? What time should it go live? When should I start advertising? Should I be advertising during the pre-order times, or should I start the advertising after it's live? And it has a lot of information to be able to help guide that decision-making process, because you shouldn't have the AI make the decisions for you, but you should go to the AI to get advice. It is really helpful at giving you structured advice that you can use to think through your own problems. AI should never give you the answer. AI should help you solve the problem yourself. All right, advertising budget, like, cool, how much am I looking to spend total or per week or per day? It's some important things. It's like also, where do you want to advertise? Who are you actually trying to reach? Trying to really identify that target market that you're trying to sell to. Because you might have written your Space Cat book for teenagers, but if you're advertising to adults, you're probably hitting the wrong market, or you wrote the book for the wrong market, which means you should probably go back to the drawing board and make it updated editing wise to be more appetizing to who's actually going to pay money for your book. So these are some good starting questions, but you should also come with questions that you want to be able to ask, because I don't necessarily know what platforms I should be considering. So what platform should I sell this book on? Like, if I want to sell my science fiction cat book, where are science fiction and cat books popular? Is it common on Amazon, or is it something that'd be a BookBub? I've never heard of it, but maybe it's popular there. If I want to sell my eclectic book on how to be able to collect seashells, that might not go so well on a science fiction forum. So you really want to ask some more of the questions that it's asking you, because like, if I don't know the answer, I should just ask the question, what would you recommend? How should I think about this? And it'll ask you more questions and give you some sound advice. So that is the 6 different AI agents, the 6 phases on your book development, going from the beginning. So again, from the start, you've got book writing and design, phase 2, editing and pre-publishing review, some cover art, website design, and you go to Amazon KDP formatting, and finally book advertising. The thing about advertising is, even though you finish with the book's not done with you. You still got to make sure you keep advertising and updating the advertising based off of what is working and eliminating the stuff, not paying for the things that are not working. So Amazon is a great place to be able to sell, but you got to make sure that you understand how the algorithms work. So this way you are only spending money on things that are going to be actually profitable to you. Either way, that is kind of the summary of what we went over, what I've gone through in my 9 months of getting my first book out there. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. And if you really enjoyed it and like the work I'm doing, go check out The Red Omen by Daniel Straub. It is my first debut novel, science fiction, and I hope you guys can come out and check it out. Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap up our stream for the day. Thanks so much for coming out. Until next time, be honorable.